about this to ratchet up the pressure on the British government to intervene. And our council has taken a very clear stand on this issue. We're the first council on the island of Ireland, and including Britain, to call for the prescription of Palestine action to be lifted. We are the only council, as far as I know, to this date, that has had a cross-party delegation meet with the families of the hunger strikers in Westminster, that a number of us attended in person or attended via a Zoom link. So we, I think, have been speaking out on this, and I think it's right that we continue to do so. I'm very worried for Hiba. 72 days means that who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of days. So it's a very worrying moment, and she's not alone. Some of the other hunger strikers are at the 65, 66 day mark. And again, this comes back to the British government. None of these hunger strikers have been convicted of anything. They are being held on remand. They are not being bailed. They are not guaranteed a fair trial. They are not getting access to proper communications. And I think that this is worth mentioning, because the reason why they are taking action as hunger strikers is obviously to call for the prescription of Palestine action to be lifted, for the closure of Elbit Systems, which is a central organisation involved in the genocide that's been committed against the Palestinian people. But this is because of the British government's participation and role in what has happened over the last 2.5 years in Palestine. That's why they're taking action. And it's just angering, frustrating that we are in a position where these young people may lose their lives, while the people who are actually responsible and complicit for mass murder and slaughter are actually facing no charges. So I would like to extend my solidarity to the hunger strikers, their families and supporters. And I would urge all of us, individually, as parties, as independents, to do everything we can to keep the pressure on. I welcome the fact that former hunger strikers have signed a letter. Former hunger strikers from here in Ireland have pledged their solidarity with the Palestine hunger strikers. And I think we just have to try and do all we can to keep this issue alive, and to make sure that their sacrifice and heroic struggle isn't in vain. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. We have 2 indicated speakers. The first is Councillor McDade and the second is Councillor Heaney.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Harkin, for raising this. On behalf of the SDLP, we just wanted to send our kind of prayers and solidarity to all the hunger strikers, particularly Hiba. At day 72, I mean, it goes without saying that her life is now in danger massively. I was reading articles earlier from quotes from her friends saying how thin she is and how unwell she is. This is really, really a danger point, and she could die at any time now at this stage. This is how far this has gone. And the British government are continuing to ignore it. The mainstream media are continuing to ignore it. If you look at any of the mainstream papers or news outlets, there's no mention of it. These are people who are literally putting their lives on the line, and it should be in the front of every paper, and it's not. So I agree with Councillor Harkin. We need to do everything we can to raise this profile and continue to speak about it at every opportunity we can. I was proud this morning that Colm Eastwood and Claire Hanna have signed an early day motion which is calling on David Lammy to intervene with the safeguard the hunger strikers. Now David Lammy is continuing to ignore all these calls, as is all the leadership within the British government at the minute. But like Sean says, within this council we've been at the forefront. We've done everything we can and we'll continue to do everything we can, and just want to continue to send our solidarity. Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Catherine. Councillor Heaney.
Thanks, Chair. And just again, on behalf of our group, Sinn Féin, we echo all of the sentiments already expressed by others here in this chamber. It's a really sort of tragic time for this, and we fully support what has been Palestine Action have been doing, but the fact this hunger strike is taken, but it's just tragic. So we just want to put on record and echo the comments already made.
Thank you, Connor. I see a note from Alderman Cook in the chat box about the sound dipping in and out. I think we've done as much as we can to try and fix this. I'm surprised you can hear anything at all, but we're trying our best to keep the sound going. So if you can just bear with us, please, Chelsea. So, Councillor Harkin, you have another issue you wish to raise?
Thank you again, Chair, for letting me raise this. This is a matter close to home. I'm sure people are aware of the frustrations that have developed from both postal workers and those of residents across the city and the district who've been frustrated about the fact that their letters haven't been delivered. And this is an ongoing issue. We met with Royal Mail management many times. I recall the last meeting that we had in Strabane at the council offices there, where we were guaranteed that, and this is coming from Royal Mail themselves, we were guaranteed that the issues we were raising would be addressed, that they acknowledged that the fact that Derry in the Northwest received a lot of parcels meant that they would make plans, one, to hire more workers, but also to ensure that the letters went out on time. And they just simply have not followed through on this. In fact, it looks like it's getting worse, because I listened to the representative from the Communication Workers Union on Radio 4 the other day, saying that Royal Mail had to bring in 40 workers from England during the festive period to make sure that the parcels and the mail and the letters got delivered. I know that people received important letters a month late, letters, for example, to do with PIP reviews and over the festive period. So this is very frustrating. I want to echo my support for the union's demands for investment into the processing hub. It may be the case that the Great James's Street one isn't big enough, so there might need to be two in the city. There may need to be a new one altogether. But I think that what I would like to propose, Chair, is that we agree that we need to have an urgent meeting with Royal Mail management for them to explain what's happening. And we should also organise a separate meeting with the union to hear what their proposals are, because they do have proposals. And I think it's only through talking to the workers that we can get a real insight into what's actually happening in the facility, because congestion's been a big part of the issue. And I know Royal Mail management have been trying to blame congestion for the problem, but I've talked to a lot of workers there and they're saying it's not the case, that a lot of these issues could be easily resolved, but that Royal Mail management just won't listen to them, and there's not enough preparation, and ultimately there's not enough investment. So if I can propose, and I'm happy to write it up if you need, Chair, but it's two straightforward proposals, one for a meeting with Royal Mail and the other for a meeting with the CWU representatives. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Would you have a preference in terms of who we should meet first? Would you rather meet the union or meet the organisation itself?
Well, I would like to meet the union first, because I think they can make sense of a lot of the noise that we're hearing, and I think they have the clearest insight into what's happening, and we can actually trust what they're saying as well. Okay,
so we won't need that written down. It's pretty straightforward. So we have 1, 2, 3 indicated speakers at the minute. The first is Alderman Middleton. Julie? And we need a seconder, Julie.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm happy to second. Thank you, Chair, for letting me in, and thank you, Councillor Harkin, for raising the postal issue frustratingly again. In the rural, I know of a large number of people who are hugely frustrated, missing appointments, bills that are coming really, really late, which actually affects our farming communities in terms of their water and their power. Elderly people who rely on their postal communication. And I do want to put on record again that our on-the-ground Royal Mail postal workers are exceptional. I don't blame them. I don't think they're in any way to blame. I think when you're talking to them, they're under serious pressure. But we must acknowledge that the management have to provide urgent solutions district-wide for all our residents. I mean, I know of someone who asked for or who paid for next day delivery and it landed 4 weeks later. So you're paying for a service and you're not getting it. But when it comes to people's health and their well-being and financial pressures, the management of Royal Mail need to get their act together and get this problem sorted. It's been on for far too long, and we've had promise after promise and answer after answer. But the issue is very real and it does exist. So yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Joey. Next indicated speaker is Councillor Mooney. Sean.
Thank you, Chair. Just on behalf of our group and in Council, we'll certainly support the proposals put forward by Councillor Harkin. I think it was this time last year that Councillor Raymond Barr brought a similar motion, and we met with the management of the post office, etc. But clearly there's systemic issues that have not been resolved and are still in play. These are deep-rooted because what we're told is about, well, I mean, the evidence is there. Everybody in this chamber has probably had late letters over the last while, appointment letters for hospitals and doctors' appointments and various other issues that we all need. And it's simply not good enough. We've been told that they're going to do better, but they haven't done better. We know that because 40 workers were brought on over Christmas, as Councillor Harkin has pointed out. It was on the radio during the week. And we are being told anecdotally by other people that parcels are being prioritised over letters. The Royal Mail is simply a situation where we think that letters are going to be prioritised over parcels, because letters are much more important when it comes to the matters that I just relayed about appointments and different other things. So again, we would definitely support coming in on this and having a meeting with the union who are involved with Royal Mail and the management too, because obviously the matter hasn't been resolved and it needs to be resolved very quickly. So thank you to Councillor Harkin for bringing this, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sean. Next indicated speaker is Alderman Guy. Darren.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me on this, and as well just to thank Councillor Harkin for bringing this forward. Totally agree, and look forward to being able to have the discussions. I missed the last time it was in Strabane, unfortunately, but I'd sent questions through Stephen and I think pretty much the same as everybody else's questions, because we've all had complaints from people right across the city who have been basically waiting on mail for months, let's say. I know a guy who was waiting on a cheque coming from a customer in Clary. He lives in Drumahoe. 42 days it took the cheque to arrive to his house. Now he knew it had been sent, but it just shows you the situation that it's faced, because the mail's that bad. But to be honest, like, I know that the media and all have been covering this over the past week and so on, and it seems like it's some new phenomenon. But really, this has been going on for 3 years now. 3 years under the same management in Great James's Street. I don't know how the man gets away with it, because it's shocking, you know. And I know, like, I've seen photographs from inside in the sorting office from last February, and you were able to tell that obviously they were Valentine's Day cards because of the size of the cards, the time of year, it wasn't all. 3.5 weeks after Valentine's Day, they were still sitting, stacked up in the sorting office. You know, things like that. It's not good enough. Like, it's simply, it's poor management, and I don't know how the management there continue to get away with it. But thanks, Councillor Harkin, fully back it, and look forward to a chance to bringing them in and grilling the management, as they say. But thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Next indicated speaker is Councillor O'Farrell. Antine.
Hi, Hurley. Thanks very much, Chair, for letting me in. And to Councillor Harkin for bringing this forward as well. Happy to endorse it. Last year, myself and Melissa McHugh met in the Strabane office with Royal Mail, and we were assured that things were going to improve. But as was highlighted here, things haven't improved. So I think it is important that we speak to them, but more importantly, that we speak to the unions to try and get this matter sorted out.
Thank you, Antine. And the final indicated speaker is Councillor Hutton. Aisling.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in, and apologies I can't be in the chamber this afternoon. I think I fully support Councillor Harkin's proposals. I was in the room in Strabane when Royal Mail did come down to give us an update in relation to their services. And when I did leave that room, I was pretty sort of sure that they had given us proper information and truthful information, but unfortunately that is not the case. And I suppose, you know, we need to have empathy for the Royal Mail staff, the people on the ground, like they are the frontline workers. And what I wanted to stress on here today is that our MLA, Padraig Delargy, has called for a formal investigation by Ofcom and the Consumer Council. So it's in relation to the persistent letter failures, which we all know is impacting hospital appointments. It's impacting school appointments. I had parents today in touch with me about a letter that came out about a 6-year parent-teacher meeting that they didn't get, which resulted in the school having to ring around and people getting out of work without giving their workforce notices, etc., etc. So, you know, the reports of the worsening backlog and reduced overtime, it's all there. It's all to be investigated. Padraig has called for this investigation, but, you know, this is all stemming from management decisions, understaffing, workload pressures, even, you know, structural issues at the sorting office rather than a failure by the postal workers themselves. So I think it's important that this investigation is done. It's important that this investigation is done properly and the right people are around the table, but happy to agree with Sean on this occasion that we all need to get Royal Mail back in the room because it's impacting the people in this city and district massively. And just an example of myself, I hadn't received letters in 6 weeks and they all came in about 3 or 4 days ago. And our colleague, Councillor Patricia Logue, received all her Christmas cards this morning. So we're all feeling the pressures. We're all living through the whole issues with the letters. And some of those letters are pretty important and can have very negative impacts on people and their families. So thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Aisling. So that was proposed by Councillor Harkin, seconded by Alderman Middleton and agreed unanimously. So we're going to move on to the body of the meeting. Anybody wish to raise an item in matters arising from the previous meeting? No. Right. Okay. So we've got a number of items open for information. One of them requires an actual decision. So that's item 9, which is the DERA Micro Business Development Grant. So I'm going to ask Kevin to take us through that item, please.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the purpose of this report is to provide you with an update on the Rural Business Development Grant Scheme, but also to seek your endorsement on the issuance of the letters of offer for the successful applicants. Members are obviously well aware of the scheme itself. Been running for a number of years, basically back to 2019. The details of the scheme are contained within the report itself. This grant scheme basically offers grant assistances to businesses in the rural area. It's a really important tool, one which Council's business team delivers on behalf of DERA. One which allows the team to interface with businesses which they may not normally do that with, and also join up the wider ecosystem. You'll see within the report, we've detailed it out in terms of the sort of the success rate in terms of the various years of the programme, but I think that the 2025 scheme has, you know, surpassed all expectations in terms of the quantum of the grants values to be awarded and the amount of businesses that are going to receive these grants. What I would say is that, and I think probably members have heard me say this before, quite often these schemes open and close very quickly. They do put a fair amount of pressure on the applicant first and foremost, but also the team in terms of the assistance required to get those applications over the line. The team were working right up basically to the day before Christmas Eve, I think it was, just to make sure that they got the decisions on these. So you can see within the report the various allocations and the performance across the programs themselves, and indeed also the timescale in terms of not just the opening of the scheme, but the workshops that are required to basically bring people up to speed, and then just the assessment process. So 160 applications were received to the scheme. 20 of these applications were deemed ineligible or didn't meet the 65% assessment criteria, and 3 individuals withdrew from the assessment. Council officers will work with these individuals to provide relevant, and have done, signposting and support for future opportunities. A big part of the ethos is around trying to join up the various supports that are out there, the various programs, and try to make sure it's as easy as possible for the applicants to kind of navigate that sometimes complicated sort of ecosystem out there. So you'll see within the financial area, so a total of 137 letters of offer have been issued to the successful applicants, equating to 641,000 in investment. And the recommendation is the members are asked to note the contents of this report and endorse the issuance of the letters of offer to the value outlined above.
Thank you for that really positive update, Kevin. So do we have any indicated speakers? Just bear in mind that we need a proposer and a seconder for this. So Councillor Mooney, Sean.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks to Kevin for bringing the report. I think really I'm happy to propose it. I'd like to thank Kevin and the dedicated staff who worked in this area. They do this. I think 5.2 says it all. 137 letters of offer have been issued, and that equates to a total of 641,000 odds in investment. So I think that says it all anyway. So happy to propose that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And the only other indicated speaker is Alderman Middleton. Julie.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. I'm very happy to second this. Just to concur and echo some of the statements made by Councillor Mooney. Kevin, we really do thank you and your team for your diligence. You've done tremendous work. It is great to see growth, and it's great to have this positive report as we start our new year together. So thank you very much. And just again, on behalf of the DEP, I'm very, very happy to second this.
Thank you, Julie. And the final indicated speaker is Alderman Hussey. Derek.
Thank you, Chair. I notice Esling has her hand raised as well, Chair. With regard to 2.5, Kevin, excellent report, absolutely brilliant. We've got the original grant allocation. We've got the targets for the first 4 years. Is there any reason why this is not disclosed for 24 and 25? I mean, it's tremendous outcome we're seeing there, but at the beginning, you know, why is it the top 2 boxes listed as not disclosed? Thank you, Chair.
I'm going to ask Kevin to comment on that.
I need to double check. I would imagine it's to do with probably an audit issue, but I'll double check just in terms of that and come back at the next meeting, or come back directly to Alderman Hussey.
That's grand. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
No one else wish to comment? Okay, so that is open for decision. Done and dusted. We have 3 items open for information: 6th monthly progress report, trade investment mission to America, and the Strabane bid. Would anyone like to comment on any of those items? This could be a world record speed for business and culture. So moving into confidential for decision. So can I have a proposer? An array of hands. So